As expected, the talking heads, the politicians, the radio personalities around the country had a lot to say about the recent Supreme Court ruling striking down both DOMA and Prop 8. We have a little montage we put together of some of them. Let's listen.
It's a sad day for America.
It is a sad day.
It's a sad day in America indeed.
Again, a very sad day for the children of America.
It's a sad day when unelected judges change the definition of marriage.
They attack something that they have no jurisdiction over whatsoever. The foundational unit of our society, which is marriage. That is something that God created.
It is a sad day for America. It's a sad day for the children. On my way to work, I saw a couple of children just crying on the corners as I passed by them. They're so sad that gay people can now get married. I got news for you. I've looked at some of the demographics on the surveys. The younger you go, the more approving of gay marriage these people tend to be. I'm sure that if we could talk to the director and the producer's kids, they're probably also in favor of gay marriage. And so I have a feeling that they're not as sad as you're making them out to be. Now, what I love is we had at the end there, we had Michele Bachmann talking about you can't undo what holy God has wrought. And so somebody asked Nancy Pelosi, they mentioned that quote, and she had a little response to it.
Congresswoman Bachmann put out a statement, and she essentially said that the decision today cannot undo God's word. How do you guys react to that?
Who cares?
I love that. Like, she was probably thinking, wait, Michele Bachmann's still in office right now? She's like 3% more relevant than Sarah Palin and falling fast because she's not as pretty as Sarah Palin. So she better get in her comments while she can. I have no doubt that she'll be, on Fox News constantly, but her relevance is going to drop so quickly. She doesn't even have sort of like the conservative intellectual background that some of these speakers do. She's sounding more and more like Pat Robertson. She actually sounds more religiously conservative than Pat Robertson does recently.
This is the way these things work, and actually it's the way it should work. I mean, the approach to anything ridiculous, because it's going to go more and more over the top. It's like everything that was said in opposition to the decision was so like, oh my God, the world's going to end. You realize that I walked down the street and I saw a gay man, and then the court decided that he'd get married, so that I had to squeeze my ass cheeks a little tighter because he just might. I mean, like they're going so far off the top that no one can take them seriously. And anytime Democrats or liberals even address their stupidity by saying, well, the Congresswoman has a point. No, just say, who cares? She's crazy. Everyone knows she's crazy. Yeah. And less people will think she's crazy if I answer the stupid-ass question from her or respond to her.
You know she's crazy. You can see it in her eyes. She doesn't even have to be looking at the right camera, and you can see it in her eyes. But anyway, so that's the video. We've also got a collection of some tweets and some quotes that are just awesome. The reactions of some of the crazies whining about what happened in the Supreme Court today. So we're going to start with, this is Governor Mike Huckabee, another religious fellow. He says, 5 people in robes said they are bigger than the voters of California and Congress combined, and bigger than God. May He forgive us all. And he goes on to say, my thoughts on the SCOTUS ruling that determined that same-sex marriage is okay, Jesus wept. Look, I'm going to keep it real. I have not read the Bible front to back, but I have read portions of the Sermon on the Mount. I have a feeling Jesus would not be weeping right now, especially because they said very little in the Bible about homosexual sex, homosexual marriage, obviously. But Mike Huckabee is not one to mince his words, and he's speaking for both Jesus and God himself there. Let's continue. Representative Tim Wahlberg, a Republican of Minnesota, says, society itself is at risk and cannot continue. This is a line of argument that we're going to hear a couple of times here. Louis Gohmert, so we're going to get some intellectual credentials here. Same-sex marriage was usually tried at the end of a great civilization. We've heard this for years now. The Romans ended because of gay marriage. Had nothing to do with, the change-ups in how they recruit for their military, the invasions of the barbarians, things like that. It's all a sodomy. I got news for you. Both the Greeks and the Romans engaged in sodomy for a long time before they were eliminated. Another person who feels basically the same way as Louis Gohmert is Ralph Reed, the chairman of the Faith and Freedom Coalition. He says, overturning the act was an Orwellian act of judicial fiat. He's not entirely wrong there because it was judicially active to some extent, but it wasn't Orwellian in any case. He goes on to say, though, the Prop 8 ruling endangers federalism as well as the most time-honored tradition in the history of Western civilization. These twin decisions will undermine the already low respect for the federal courts and the rule of law. What I like there is, as I mentioned earlier on in the show, If anything, these rulings strengthen federalism because they make it almost impossible for the federal government in the future to make gay marriage legal across the country. And it says specifically that marriage is going to be the province of the states. It's going to continue to be and be even stronger the province of the states. So I have a feeling he did not read the decision before jumping to these conclusions and tweeting out. But he also says it's a conspiracy of homosexual and liberal lower circuit judges. So here's the thing. Yes, the lower circuit judges did have to play along, I suppose, for these cases to get to the Supreme Court, but they did eventually get to the Supreme Court. And I got news for you. When it comes to DOMA, at least, it was also some of the conservative justices who were voting in favor of the elimination of DOMA. They're not liberals. Are you implying that they're homosexuals? Going by some of Scalia's comments about homosexual sodomy, I suppose that's possible. So maybe in the future it'll turn out that Ralph Reed was correct. And perhaps the weirdest comment here is coming from Brian Brown, the president of the National Organization for Marriage. As Cenk has said, any organization that has family or marriage in it is a bunch of crazy people. But he says, there is a stench coming from this case that has now stained the Supreme Court. The reference there to stench and stained, I don't know if that's supposed to invoke in our minds something about homosexual sex or something like that. I don't know really what he's thinking, but look, let's be real. We had some religious figures there. We had some politicians there. And as with any other issue, at the end of the day, they're going to use this as a way to raise some money. And so that's why they go out there and they say some crazy stuff. Maybe Michele Bachmann thinks this is a way to demonstrate her conservative credentials, I suppose, for her eventual job on Fox News. I don't know. But I will say this. So we've shown you what some of the conservatives around the country think, and they're very worried. They're worried about declining moral standards. They're worried about the fall of Western civilization and all that. And I'm going to be real. Sometimes when we win on an issue, I feel a little bit uncomfortable bragging about it. Like, let's say there was a war we wanted to engage in, us liberals, and we won. I would feel a little bit bad for those who lost because I would understand their position. I have never felt less bad about gloating in my entire life because at the end of the day, this has absolutely nothing to do with any of those people. Except perhaps Michele Bachmann, because her marriage is actually in a bit of danger now that gay marriage is to some extent legalized. She might lose her man. But other than that, these people have nothing to fear. This is very much like if there was a ban on rubbing your dog's stomach at home was struck down, and a bunch of people who don't own dogs got all worked up about it. It's got nothing to do with you, man. It's between me and my dog. And in this case, it's between the people that want to get married. It's between them, the love that they've cultivated over months, years, even decades. This has nothing to do with you. The end of the world is not nigh. Civilization will not crumble. It will continue. I could be wrong there. It might crumble, but if it does, it's because of a double or triple dip recession, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with gay marriage.